Today's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Jack Threads. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the fairest movie of them all? Well, maybe Snow White and the Huntsman.
Rad Show.
So we just walked out of Snow White and the Huntsman, which comes out today, nationwide. And it's basically a retelling of the classic Snow White story. It's really, the vibe is as if Snow White, the Disney cartoon, was based on a
King Arthurian legend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we've only seen this Disney version of it, and now we finally get the
gritty,
true,
real
version.
Yeah. Facts.
Right.
Fact.
Right.
Troll. Fact.
And it's directed by Rupert Sanders, who has been making giant cinematic commercials for the past decade. Most notably, probably to you guys, for the Halo ODST commercials he directed. But he's making his feature film debut with this movie.
Although at Comic-Con they
Stewart
showed us a lot of his commercials, and the one that jumped out at me as most recognizable was back in the day for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, when it had, I think it might have been Black Ops, where they had all the celebrities in the real desert environments shooting each other
Kobe
and throwing
and
an egg.
everybody.
Yeah.
By back in the day, you mean like a year ago?
It was, I think, 3-4 years ago. I think it was Black Ops 1, not 2.
I don't think so. I think that
It was a while back.
Yeah.
It wasn't yesterday, but it was the one of the Comic-Con. I mean, more than a year ago, because it was played at Comic-Con as an old commercial.
Right. Jeff,
That's me.
what did you think of Snow and the Huntsman?
I mostly liked it. I'm a fan of taking what is our cultural myths, these stories that we grow up with, that are children's tales, and grittyizing them. You know, I think that basically that's what modern comic book movies have done, and in a lot of ways, I just like that aesthetic of these things that have only existed in 2D Technicolor animation or picture books, being given 3 dimensions and grounded and really feeling lived in, and I like that, and there's a lot of fun to be had in this movie with that. I do have a lot of problems with it. I found it to be pretty slow, pretty often, and it really doesn't pick up until we get to the dwarves, and unfortunately the 7 dwarves don't show up till really pretty far into the movie, but they are, man, we've come a long way from Lord of the Rings, from Fellowship of the Ring, right?
Yeah.
The effect used to realize these really great English actors who we all recognize, but they've become little people. They literally have the proportion of little people. They're not just smaller in comparison to the other actors. They are proportionally dwarves. And I found that to be so incredible to behold. I was never taken out of that effect. Every time there was a wide shot of them all, I was like, this is amazing! And it was really, I had a great time with those characters. Bob Hoskins is, I mean, all those guys, it's really fun. I found Chris Hemsworth, he continues to be an awesome leading man. I have yet to be disappointed by any role he's taken. And really my biggest complaint is Kristen Stewart, who, you know, is a fine actress, and I think she delivers a decent performance. She just doesn't have any of that regalness to her. There's nothing special about her. She's such a scrappy modern girl. Just who she is like that scrappy modern contemporary girl that only a moronic mirror would think that she is fairer than Charlize Theron. You know, like the idea that she's fairer in any dimension than majestic, statuesque Charlize Theron is cockamamie.
It is a fantasy.
And Charlize Theron, I mean, she chews the scenery like a poison apple. I mean, she's chewing scenery and clearly having a lot of fun. Some of it worked and some of it didn't for me, but there's enough fun here. There's enough like really cool visual stuff. All of the depiction of magic in this world, it's never like, hey, we're doing magic now. It's all just visually dynamic and crazy, and fairyland and all that stuff is cool. And then the end, sort of big set piece, this storming of a castle that we get is really fun. I just found a lot of lulls. I found a lot of slow pacing. I mean, it feels much more like a I don't want to say like a chick flick, but it indulges in the sentimentality and the emotion of the moment rather than giving me that sort of summer popcorn beat of action. Because really, we don't get that until the third act. There's a couple of moments, but none of them are thrilling until we get to that big third act.
I mean, mostly agree, you know. Visually, I thought it was great. I love the idea of it. Chris Hemsworth, amazing. I actually did like Kristen Stewart a little bit better, or a little bit more than that, than you did. But 100% agreed with Charlize Theron. She was having a ball. And 90% of the time, I was right there with her. And 10% of the time, I was like, all right, reel it back here, lady. Let's get to the apples. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of really inventive stuff.
How do you like them apples?
You know, when she was there's a great moment with this big troll where she kind of like finds her inner gonads. I wish that there was more of a turn at that point. It kind of was just this thing that she did and then was like, well, anyway, let's go back to me being runny from Stuffy.
Oh, our bus is here, guys.
We're going to take this one. This is the,
we'll see you in a second.
This is the bus to...
we should do the bus stop reviews with the TRS guys.
I'll give it 2 hydraulic brakes out of 3. And C. So whether we keep that or not, hysterical. So you know, she didn't really have that big turn. It became sort of like, oh, she's still afraid of girls.
I know. I thought it was going to be that she was in touch with the nature. She's like a forest child.
And exactly. But
there's never anything special about her. We don't get why.
She just never does it. Right. She can heal people, except for the people who are dying around her.
Yeah.
None of them. Just that you don't have a knee injury anymore.
But sort of vaguely. Like your aches and pains go away.
Exactly.
Oh,
because
sores,
she's bringing
your
life.
cold sore.
Yeah. Your teeth look amazing.
Your lazy eyes.
Actually, I take that back.
Lazy.
I take that back. Teeth still look bad.
Yeah, still look bad.
But it was really fun. It's just that it was really fun in between periods of, all right, let's get going here, guys. I really like the Chris Hemsworth. Hemsworth, sorry.
Helms Deep?
Who's Hemsworth? There's some Hemsworth guy.
Helms Deep.
No, that's not it. Chris Hemsworth. It's Helms Deep. Oh, Helms Deep. Bill Helms Deep. I love that guy.
Helms Deep.
His relationship with Kristen Stewart, I really bought. I enjoyed that. You know, which I think was part of it. And visually, it was great. The dwarves steal the whole movie.
I want them to have their own movie, for real.
That to me was like, it was magic. That was magic.
It was incredible.
All the other stuff you could really sort of be like, oh, here's the visual effect. I mean, it was all great stuff, but it was like, here comes a visual effect. Yes, this is happening. And then it was like, I didn't know Ian McShane was a dwarf. You know what I mean? Like,
how is that happening?
The people have just must been using him as a normal-sized male rather than in all the other movies.
They've enlarged all of these actors for all the other movies. Really, the great special effects are in Deadwood.
Oh yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, a lot of them.
Right.
Making him look like Big Beard, and then.
What do you guys think now? How do you think it's going to do this week? I mean,
I think it'll do okay. Yeah. I think there's enough of the nostalgia for that. I think the people who were disappointed with Mirror Mirror, who wanted this from Mirror Mirror, are going to go to this and go, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I thought I was.
I don't think anyone who saw the trailer for Mirror Mirror thought they were going to get this.
They switched it. They did switch it. The trailer. They made it way less family.
This is not a movie people walk out of and go, oh, you got to go see.
No, this is the weekend. This is the weekend.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because I feel like this isn't a summer movie. I think it would have had a niche.
Christmas movie, maybe?
Christmas or even like March. It would have been a fun, like, oh wow, we don't really get movies of this scale at this time of year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feed the pace enough to feel like a real fun popcorn flick. And it has a lot of wonderful mood and a lot of wonderful visual, but it just lags.
And it also felt like it was really going for those, as you said, it was really trying to nail home the emotional moments. Like the end of the movie is a very Return of the King, and not nearly as heartfelt. You know what I mean?
I was actually surprised. A lot of the editing in the movie was more similar to editing that you see in commercials or in a movie like A Thin Red Line, like a Terrence Malick movie, which I think is what you guys are getting at, where it's esoteric and non-linear and jumpy as opposed to straight narrative.
Yeah.
And there's really no
which I thought was interesting.
surprises.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, there's no.
There's a couple
maybe
little
the
twists that I
surprise
liked.
is how this movie interprets those classic moments.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I also felt like you're titling your film Snow White and the Huntsman. I don't feel like
you think it
there's
could have been
focus.
taken more license on?
Yeah.
It's the Huntsman. It's
I do.
different.
I would have loved to have had the focus further on that relationship rather than it really is Snow White.
Snow White. They just added a character called the Huntsman.
Well, I mean,
No,
I think
it's
he's in
someone-
the original fairy tale.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Huntsman. I mean, it's not like this movie at all.
Yeah.
I think someone going in expecting Snow White
Is
doesn't
gonna
go,
get
wow,
there.
this is very good. I think there's a lot of different stuff. But
It's fun
It's interesting.
interpretation of Snow
Yeah.
White. It doesn't infuse anything for me. But
Yeah, it's not. I mean, if you're a fan of Snow White, I think you can go see it. But for me, it
Yeah.
was like, meh. It wasn't as crazy mind-numbing as I thought it was going to be from the
Right.
trailers.
Right.
yeah.
But it was a good movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
We
Snow
got
and the
Hunted.
Huntsman.
Hunted. I don't know what that means. All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We've got outtakes from the show coming right up. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Jeff.
You've heard of awesome apparel brands. You love them.
Yes.
Stussy,
Yes.
Kid Robot,
Yes, I've heard of
Hurley.
them. I've heard of them.
Examples.
Examples of awesome
Alternative
brands.
brands.
Done.
Brands that make you look fly.
Ooh.
Make you turn the heads of the ladies. I'm talking to the guys out there, the fellas.
Head twisters.
But you know what? Who can afford that kind of thing?
Nobody.
It turns out that if I'm walking out of the store and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to buy these sweet brands, it turns out I'm a sucker.
Interesting.
I'm paying full price.
Interesting.
You know why?
Because you're a sucker?
Because only suckers pay full price.
Ah, that makes you a sucker.
Don't be a sucker! Get hip to the secret that we're going to tell you about right now.
Bring it in.
There
Bring
is
it
a-
in.
There
Bring it
is
in.
there is a secret club, an online-only shopping club called Jack Threads. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
Jack
Tell us
Threads?
more.
Shh, can't tell many people about it because it is a members-only club. It can give you up to 80% off every single day.
Do you have to swear a blood oath?
Yes.
Amazing! Oh, no, okay.
And by blood oath, I mean all you have to do is go to jackthreads.com/TRs because we got your hookup. We're in this club.
We already did the blood oath for you.
we sacrificed a goat, so
Nice.
you don't have to.
Amazing.
All you have to do is not be a sucker and get those sweet brands up to 80% off every day. Jackthreads.com/TRS will hook you up.
Amazing.
Speaking of hooking you up,
Oh.
segue into something
Woo.
else. Putting that aside, nudity.
Let's talk.
If you don't have enough money for clothes, I'm doing a play. I'm doing a play. It opens tonight. There's nudity. It's not
Nice.
for kids. It's not me who's naked, although I am in my underpants. I apologize in advance.
But I like that you have to keep saying that because so many people are going to show up and be like, I thought Jeff was naked.
I-
It's much better than Jeff naked.
It's
if you are.
it's
a guy.
girls, very attractive ladies who are in
Also
their
naked.
birthday suits.
Got it.
Don't be a sucker. Don't miss this play. Seriously, it's really funny. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
It's really funny, and it is premiering tonight in Hollywood, and it runs through July. If you go to jeffcannata.com, you'll see the details on how to get tickets. I hope to see you there.
Cool.
Come afterwards and meet me, and I would love to say hi to you after the show.
With more clothes on.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Although it can be arranged.
This is the hottest it's ever been. Oh, that broke
May have
everything.
done something. I damned the light.
You damned the light.
Oh man, my
Damn, why'd you hit the light?
Did I mess it up?
Yep.
Sorry.
It fell over.
I didn't. Sorry, I messed up your very high-tech cardboarding. Oh,
We should get some sort of like
cardboard?
carbon fiber triangle.
Talk, everybody.
Check,
Talking.
check, check, check.
Talking.
check, Jeff.
Check.
Dan?
Dan. Dan, you look
Check,
good.
check. Dan.
Dan. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Today's Twitter question sent to. Today's Twitter question sent in with the hashtag.
It's fucking sweaty already.
It's sweaty already, and we haven't begun. It's time for us to sweat and have some fun.
I'm getting moist and I don't like it. Take this football and you should spike it. All right, ready?
For some reason, when you said football, I thought soccer ball, and then I was like, he can't say spike it. It rhymes, but it's a ball. It's a soccer ball. You can't spike a soccer ball. And then it took me a second.
You were thinking of football.
I was thinking football.
I was like, sure. I was doing a title.
I feel like we're angled a little too much
called.
down the sidewalk towards the people who
Well,
are
I
going to
think
be
because
walking.
he wants to see the Chinese in the background. But
All right, I think we're in high.
you ready?
Yeah, we've opened ourselves up
Let's
to
wait. Yeah,
background
we're
folks.
literally opening ourselves up to background.
Yeah, that's
folks.
what you were saying before. I didn't get it when you said it's good to have our back to the street.
Exactly. Yeah,
So you
because
don't
if we square up more,
We don't have the Today Show.
we don't
behind
have
us.
the Today Show behind us of face eaters.
You good? Is it still cool?
You ready to power this bitch?
All right. Rad
Or the
Rebus.
bitch. Band camp.
My asshole.
Yeah.
It's football. My hair is it.